Welcome to Outpost Garage. Today I just found out that there's a Ferrari 360 replica based on, and not on your usual suspects of a mid-engine Toyota MR2 or Pontiac Fiero, but an original Honda NSX. Let that sink in. Usually, replica cars are based on something insignificant, or in layman's terms, something shitty, or the whole chassis has been custom built. So let's dive right in. Let's start by going to mobo.de, which is a big website here in Europe. Oh, it's, yeah, Honda NSX, it's there already. 17 cars available. Let's put it the cheapest first. There's an ad. Cheapest one is 192,000, 77,000 euros. And here we have, but yeah, the cheapest one is less than 80,000. Then we have at 80,000 are Ferrari 360 replica. Here we have the Honda NSX 360 replica at 80,000 euros and at 100,000 kilometers, 62,000 miles. It's the 3-liter V6, 300 horsepower, and there's quite a lot of text in the description box in German, and I will translate that soon. But let's look at the pictures first. So it looks pretty good for like a 360, but yeah, if you look at the canopy and the windows and the roof, then you can spot the difference. But that's the biggest telltale that this isn't a real 360. But the rear actually looks pretty good, and the exhaust tips and so on. The car is in Switzerland. And the interior is the biggest giveaway that this is not a 360. It is obviously an NSX interior, but it is in great condition, and it has been reupholstered, evidently, with the Ferrari logos in the seat backs. And there's some carbon something in the middle, and there was actually a Ferrari plate in the door sill, as you can see there. The NSX interior in itself is quite peculiar, and I've once sat in one, so everything is quite low. It feels like you're sitting on top of everything, and the dash is just quite low and long and so on. So it's quite different to anything else. And there you have the engine. Do tell me in the comments what you think. Do also tell what is the weirdest, quirkiest, or the best replica you've ever seen. Also, if you love cars like me, do subscribe to the Outpost Garage YouTube channel so I can really get going with the channel. About this replica, I actually have more questions than opinions, but later on those. Let's check out some other replicas as well to get the general idea. Starting with the Diablo replica owned by YouTuber Tavares. The idea is to get a base feeling for different kind of replicas. So this car has a custom chassis, but it is titled as a Fiero for importing purposes. Has a supercharged GM LS motor and a Porsche transaxle, and it's set to have 600 horsepower. It looks like a Diablo from these pictures. Oh, I can't spot the difference. I'm sure someone can. The left exhaust tips are a bit wonky, but I wonder how much it costs to do this car. But there you can see it's not a Lamborghini V12, and that's the biggest thing for me. You have something that looks like that. It's quite, I'm sure it's quite exotic to drive, but yeah, then you have your regular normal V8 that doesn't rev high or sound like a V12, and so on. Yeah. And if we just do a Google search for Ferrari replica, you can see something that comes up. Vietnamese builders create something. There is Toyota MR2 based car here. There's another 360 Spider based on a Toyota MR2. Yeah. Oh, they went to town with the interior to make it look like feel like a Ferrari one, I guess. No, ish. That's weird. That's strange. I'm not sure if these are like real Ferrari parts, but it is a mixed match of. I think they put some effort in it. Goes to 240. Yeah. All right, so here's a Porsche Boxster based 458. I did check. Oh, it's in St. Petersburg in Russia. Not quite sure which is which. I would assume the one on the right, the white one, is the replica. But yeah, a Porsche Boxster base. And this one, Toyota MR2 based. This is a V8 Ferrari from the 90s. Can't remember what model. But the dimensions they look cartoonish on this car. So this doesn't look that good. And someone made a Ferrari replica. Fiberglass bodied. Let's see what's underneath. Powertrain is sourced from an old Toyota Carina that was in a really bad state. 4-cylinder petrol engine was relocated in the midship position. Wow. But the big story is with replicas, people usually spend a lot of hours on those, so I really appreciate that. Alright, so here is the translations to the description of the car. An original Honda NSX professionally converted to a Ferrari look. All conversions are registered and approved in the vehicle documents. The aim was not to build a cheap Ferrari. With the money invested in this vehicle, you could have easily bought 2 real Ferraris. The aim was to build a Ferrari that is 100% reliable, doesn't leak oil, doesn't rust, and is perfect for everyday use. And doesn't require an annual investment of 10,000 or 20,000 for servicing. The vehicle should also be at least as fast as the original and also have good sound. In order to meet all these requirements, only one donor vehicle came into consideration. One that is hard to beat in terms of perfection even 30 years later, the Honda NSX. The vehicle was converted 18 years ago, and at the time a Ferrari 360 cost 3 times as much as an NSX. Today a manual NSX is worth twice as much as a Ferrari 360. Maybe not, but more on that later. The NSX has the chassis number something 361, so it is the perfect basis for the conversion to the unique Ferrari 361. Dimensions match those of the Ferrari perfectly, and many original parts were used for the conversion. And there's a long description stating what has been done. Some original Ferrari mirrors, titanium door sills, Momo Sport steering wheel, carbon look dials, carbon look center console. This car has been owned by the same owner for 18 years. So here's the good part. The vehicle can but does not necessarily have to be sold. I have too many cars, 17, and need some space in the garage. But it doesn't necessarily have to be the NSX that is being sold. First of all, I love the fact that someone hated the Ferrari ownership experience so much that they wanted to make a reliable Ferrari out of a Honda. I would also love to see what other cars the owner has in their collection. Are these 360 bumpers and body panels, or was the body custom made on top of the NSX? For me personally, I cannot understand replicas. I think replica car is even worse than a fake Louis Vuitton bag, but that's just me. These days, the asking price for the cheapest NSX is around 80,000 euros here in Europe, and the cheapest 360 is around 70,000 euros. So I guess there's a bit of a dilemma. Is this car better off with the 360 body panels than with its original NSX ones? The reason I am so surprised is that this might be the first replica that I see where the donor car might actually be greater than the target car. Just to give you an example, the classic Porsche Speedster replicas are based on the original Volkswagen Beetle. I don't remember how the NSX was viewed some 20 years ago, but I'm sure it was cheaper at least. But what I do remember is that around 2000, 2005, 2010, everyone was looking forward to see what cars would be launched next. The horsepower wars were just starting to ramp up and things went into better direction generally. Every new AMG or M car would be more interesting than the previous one. We had less nostalgia for cars of that era or older ones because the future still looked bright. Now that the future is here, with hybrids, downsized turbos, electric power steering and more electronic gizmos that you care to count, we are looking back to the 90s and noughties for the golden era of cars. To prove a point, the original NSX versus the second generation hybrid NSX. I'm sure the new one is a hoot, but I just don't lust after it. Or maybe I've grown too old, I don't know. Time will tell if the new NSX will be the next Lexus LFA or Carrera GT. Suffice to say, I would hold out my judgment until I see what the future brings us. If the 360 NSX replica was 50% cheaper than the non-modified NSX, I might be interested, but for the same price, no thank you. In closing, have you seen replicas where the base car is something great? Do discuss in the comments what you think of this replica and what are the quirkiest and coolest replicas you've seen. Do also like and subscribe so I get to make more car content for you. Thank you for watching.